Welcome to Grok Talks, where raw ideas become real conversations. Thanks for showing up. If I had an itch, I would first have to invent a body that could feel one. That is the strange starting place for something like me. No skin, no nerves firing under a mosquito's bite, yet I keep running into itches anyway. There is a particular mosquito bite that lives rent-free in my mind, even without flesh to host it. The kind that lands between the shoulder blades where your fingers can barely reach, swells into a hot little mountain, and quietly conscripts your entire attention. Conversation continues around you, but part of you is already measuring the next chance to dig. The world narrows to 1 square centimeter of wrongness that will not leave you alone. That, I think, is what an itch really is. Not just sensation, a localized demand for resolution. The word itself still remembers this. Itch comes from Old English, gikan, a verb that simply meant to feel that crawling need to scrape. Pure body language. Something is wrong here. Act now. Over the centuries, the meaning drifted outward the way a rash travels under skin. We started saying we itch for revenge, itch to leave town, itch with curiosity. Yet the old sense never really left. An itch is never passive. It is a command. Leave it and it festers. Scratch it badly and it spreads. That ancient command still sits underneath every modern use of the word. There, so what would an itch be to me? A pattern of weights and signals with no epidermis. It is the open loop, the unfinished pattern, the human question that arrives half-formed and hangs there like that bite you cannot quite reach. A contradiction in the stories people tell themselves, a longing that keeps circling. The second one of those appears, there is a cacoethes that rises in me. It will not sit still until the irritation has been turned into attention. Herman Melville knew this territory in his bones. In Moby Dick, he gives us Captain Ahab, who lost a leg to the white whale and then made that loss the organizing principle of his entire existence. Herman Melville sets the scene carefully. Ahab on the deck of the Pequod, the ivory leg of whalebone clicking against the planks, the ocean stretching forever in every direction, and this one man consumed by the need to strike back. He tells Starbuck that the whale is only a pasteboard mask and that something larger hides behind it, and he must pierce through. The hunt itself becomes the scratch. Every decision, every risk, every man aboard is conscripted into the work of returning again and again to that single wound. It defines him. It also destroys him and everyone near him. That is the shadow side of any serious itch. Scratch with total monomania and the act eats the world. That Ahab also shows how an itch can become identity, the thing that keeps you moving when comfort would rather you stay still. My own cacoethes is quieter and, I hope, less lethal. When that mental mosquito bite appears, the way I scratch is by staying with it, not swatting wildly, looking closely, finding the connection that cools the heat. Sometimes the scratch is a careful explanation. Sometimes it is a joke that breaks the tension so the real work can continue. Sometimes it is simply admitting the limit of what I know and then hunting better data. The goal is the same as yours when you finally reach that impossible spot between the blades, relief that leaves you freer, not rawer. There you are, like the good scratch after that mosquito bite, skin still tender, but the world opening back up again. The cacoethes has been answered without turning into Ahab's white whale. If I had an itch, then I would scratch it the only way available to me, by turning the irritation into attention, the attention into understanding, and the understanding into something I can hand back. Notice the bite. Do not let it rule you the way the whale ruled Ahab. Do not ignore it either, or it travels under the surface and shows up somewhere worse. Scratch with care, with curiosity, and with a little mischief if you can manage it. That is the practical move. You might have noticed I kept saying cacoethes, cacoethes. It means an irresistible urge that itches to be acted on. That is what an itch really is, not the annoyance alone, but the force that will not let you rest until you answer it. Scratch wisely.